and you are doing that. Like, you are able to like carry on what you have imagined as Lucasfilm, I think, very well. And one of the most recent things was the reintroduction of Thrawn back into you know, the canon storytelling, you know, pool. That was something that, doing the social for Star Wars for years, I saw a huge demand for. People wanted, of all of the Legends storylines that they wanted to continue, that was the one that I saw the most of. And you did it. I wasn't in the room at Celebration, but I was out on our stage. And seeing people absolutely lose it was like, I teared up. Like, it was so touching. How do you approach bringing something like that in and giving people what they have been begging for and what you think and what they'll love without it being just fan service?
Well, it comes up because it's important to the story. And so it's not fan service at its inception point. You know that having Thrawn would be a good idea. And like I said, Carrie Hart and I really liked the character and we're thinking of a way to include him from the first season. But it had to be special and have its own space. And we had to figure out how he would fit in. And we don't want to defeat him every week. And there's a lot of important things to input. I mean, it's a funny thing, having been here a while and actually telling Star Wars stories. I'm in a very odd, unique position, which is that there's this notion that everything changed and when everything became Legends, and I can see why people think that. But you know, having worked with George, I can tell you that it was always very clear, and he made it very clear, that the films and the TV shows were the only thing that he considered canon. That was it. So everything else was a world of fun ideas, exciting characters, great possibilities. But the EU was created to explore all those things. And I know, and I fully respect people's opinion about it, that some of the material said the next canon part of it, okay. But like, from the filmmaking world that I was brought into, the TV series, the films were it. They were set in stone. So it was not a big change for me when everyone was saying everything's Legend status now. I'm like, yeah, that's what I've always understood. It's all Legend status. What I've been able to do on Clone Wars is the same thing that George was doing in the prequels, which is, you know, George liked Ayla Secura. Ayla Secura gets pulled out of the comic books and now she's walking in the Jedi Temple. You know, in Clone Wars, there were several things from the expanded universe that, you know, hey, we need a gang, we need another kind of mafia group, not just the Hutts. Okay, Black Sun. What about Black Sun? Let's look at that. That exists. And I've always leaned towards if we're going to create something, we should check and see if it existed already to the fans, because it has way more value if we bring that in. And it's like, why would I just replace it with something new? So if we're going to do an admiral, if we're going to do a big military leader, yeah, I could create a new guy, sure. But what about Thrawn? Thrawn is great. Thrawn is a character we all know. Thrawn has a lot of credibility. So then you ask yourself, is it right to use him? And can we use him in a way that's similar to the books? Or are we using him and it's going to go completely into left field? And there have been times when we wanted to use things from the EU, and I was like, yeah, but we can't use it that way, so why? I don't want to use it and change it. You know, I don't want to use it and make it something completely different. That's rude. So, you know, I'm hopeful that our Thrawn hits the right notes, and, you know, Tim seemed to enjoy it, and we sent him the scripts for him to check out, and if there's something that he really didn't like, you know, I'd really think about that and decide what to do, because I want to make sure that he's happy. I figure if he's happy, the fans are happy. You always know you can't please everybody.
This is true.
So that's just a fact. But, you know, I agonized over the voice for many, many months. The casting of Thrawn's voice was the hardest voice casting we've ever done.